scale of the challenges now dwarf what we faced in 1997. They are different, deeper, bigger, hammered out on the anvil of forces global this time in nature, sweeping the world. In 1997, the challenges we faced were essentially British. Today, they are essentially global. The world today is a vast reservoir of potential opportunity. New jobs in things like environmental technology, the creative industries, financial services. There's cheap goods and travel, the internet. Extraordinary advances in science and technology. In 10 years, we will think nothing of school leavers going off to university anywhere in the world. But with these opportunities comes huge insecurity.
Let me give you a practical illustration. Let us suppose that the American president ceases to be active alongside Ukraine. Let us suppose Germany ceases to be active alongside Ukraine and the Europeans pull back and Ukraine loses and Russia wins. Is that the end of the matter? For every event, there is a consequence. And the Ukrainians are spilling their blood on our behalf. But let's assume Russia wins. How does the world see that? They will see that the West has funked and failed to protect a democracy, a big democracy, in Europe, of all places, from an autocracy. Now, what does that mean for the perception of America? They haven't prevailed. China will notice that. Will it encourage China to think, aha, we may be being too timid about when we go into Taiwan? Maybe America will do nothing about that either. And of course, what happens to the allies of the West? What happens in Asia, to Japan, to South Korea, to the Philippines, strong allies of the West? What do? Do they decide we're safer to line up behind China rather than the West? Or do they say, then we had better be prepared to protect ourselves better and start moving towards nuclear capability? And so you get, suddenly, a much more dangerous world.
In 1997, we barely mentioned China. Not anymore. Last year, China and India produced more graduates than all of Europe put together. 10 years ago, energy wasn't on the agenda, the environment, and also roads. 10 years ago, if we talked pensions, we meant pensioners. Immigration was hardly raised. Terrorism meant the IRA. Not anymore. We used to feel we could shut our front door on the problems and conflicts of the wider world. Not anymore. Not with globalization, not with climate change, not with organized crime, not with suicide bombers born and bred in Britain, bring carnage to the streets of London in the name of religion. The question today is different from the one we faced in 1997. It is how we reconcile openness to the possibilities of globalization with security in the face of its threats. How to be open and yet secure. And again, there is a third way. Some want to fortress Britain, job protection, pull up the drawbridge, get out of international engagement. Others see no option but to submit to global forces and let the strongest survive. Our answer has to be very clear. It is once again to help people through a changing world by using collective power to advance opportunity and provide security for all. To reconcile openness and security as once we reconciled aspiration and compassion, not as enemies, but as partners in progress.